Japan looks polished from the outside. Efficient trains, polite people, beautiful temples, kawaii culture everywhere. But beneath that glossy surface lies a darker reality of stereotypes that paint a pretty grim picture. From soul-crushing work culture to social pressure, so intense people literally hide from society. These stereotypes exist for a reason. Let's dive into the negative side of Japanese culture that doesn't make it into the travel brochures. The salaryman picture. A guy in a wrinkled black suit stumbling onto the 6:30 train after 3 hours of sleep. That's the salaryman. He works 80-hour weeks minimum. Stays at the office until his boss leaves, even if he finished his work 6 hours ago. Goes to mandatory drinking parties where he gets hammered with colleagues and wakes up not remembering how he got home. He's got a secret drawer full of energy drinks at his desk and keeps a spare shirt in the office for those frequent all-nighters. His wife barely sees him. His kids don't recognize him. By age 30, his eyes are dead inside. But here's the thing, he's the ultimate provider. His dedication to his family is unmatched. He's mastered the art of power, napping anywhere, sleeping standing up on packed trains, while somehow never missing his stop. The Hantaramai master. You can never tell what this person actually thinks. Ever. They've perfected the art of saying one thing while meaning the complete opposite. When they say that's interesting, they mean that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. When they say let's grab coffee sometime, they mean I never want to see you again. When they say I'll think about it, they mean absolutely not, but I'm too polite to crush your dreams directly. Their face reveals nothing. They're passive-aggressive champions who could teach a masterclass in coded rejection. The phrase, "it can't be helped," is their favorite way to shut down any discussion. They'll nod enthusiastically during your entire presentation and then vote against your proposal in the meeting. But honestly, they're maintaining social harmony. They avoid destructive direct conflict that would damage relationships permanently. They've mastered nuanced communication that keeps everyone's face intact. The Manadensha, welcome to hell. The packed train during rush hour is claustrophobic nightmare fuel. People are literally pushed into train cars by station staff wearing white gloves, whose entire job is professional human compression. You're pressed against strangers so tightly you can't move your arms, can't check your phone, can't scratch your nose. Just stand there and suffer in complete silence for 40 minutes. Groping is so common they created women-only cars because sexual assault reached epidemic levels. Every single person avoids eye contact like their life depends on it, because acknowledging this shared misery would make it unbearable. Salarymen perfect the art of sleeping while standing and pressed between 4 other humans. It's like a vertical coffin filled with body heat and silent desperation. But it works. This incredibly efficient transportation system gets millions of people to work on time every single day. People endure this torture for the collective benefit. Have you experienced Tokyo rush hour? Let me know in the comments. The office lady. She makes tea for male colleagues who've been at the company half as long as she has. She's expected to quit after marriage, maybe push it to pregnancy if she's ambitious. The company judges her on appearance, not ability. Her desk is decorated with cute stationery and small stuffed animals as psychological armor against the daily degradation. She bows lower than the men, serves drinks at meetings where she's not allowed to contribute ideas, gets assigned all the administrative grunt work while male colleagues with identical qualifications get real projects. She's perfected the fake smile while internally screaming technique, can nod enthusiastically for 30 minutes while planning her escape. Management sees her as office decoration, there to make the place look nice and keep things running smoothly for the real workers, meaning men. But here's the truth, she's actually keeping the entire office running. She's incredibly organized and efficient. She masters office politics that men don't even notice exists and knows exactly how to get things done. The entrance ceremony, it's your first day at the company. You're wearing an identical black suit to the 200 other new employees. Everyone has the same hairstyle. Same shoes, same briefcase, same dead expression. You bow at exactly 15 degrees during introductions because someone measured. Companies literally check your natural hair color documentation to make sure you're not dyeing it. They measure skirt lengths with rulers, regulate makeup thickness, ban visible tattoos, piercings, and apparently personality itself. You recite a robotic pledge of loyalty to the company. Promise to work hard and never complain. Your individualism is executed publicly, and everyone applauds. It's like a funeral for who you used to be before corporate Japan absorbed your soul. From this moment forward, you're not a person, you're a company resource. But it creates belonging. Everyone starts on completely equal footing regardless of background. The tradition provides structure and clarity. You know exactly what's expected, and there's comfort in that certainty. The izakaya. The bar is smoke-filled and loud, and your boss just ordered another round. It's 9:30 on a Tuesday, and this is your third nomikai this week. These aren't optional. Your career advancement literally depends on your alcohol tolerance and ability to laugh at your manager's unfunny jokes. The drunker everyone gets, the more honest relationships supposedly become. Junior employees pour drinks for seniors in careful hierarchical order. Women serve men. Young serve old. The new guy basically works as a waiter for his superiors. Your boss is getting handsy with the waitress, and everyone pretends not to notice. Someone's definitely throwing up in the bathroom. Another guy's crying about his divorce. By midnight, everyone's hammered and suddenly very honest about hating their jobs and lives. Then tomorrow morning, everyone pretends absolutely nothing happened. The confessions, the tears, the groping all erased. It's temporary freedom from rigid hierarchy where people can finally be somewhat authentic, even if that authenticity is alcohol-induced and immediately forgotten. The corporate oyaji. This middle-aged boss thinks sexual harassment is just jokes between friends. He's drunk by 8 p.m. and expects everyone to match his pace. He's technologically incompetent, still sends faxes in 2025, and genuinely believes email is too complicated for business communication. He asks female staff to make copies and bring coffee while male subordinates get actual work assignments. He pats women's shoulders too long, makes comments about their appearance, suggests they be prettier if they smiled more. He refuses to learn new systems, insists on doing everything the old way because that's how we've always done it. He embodies every toxic element of old corporate Japan, the sexism, the drinking culture, the resistance to change, the absolute power trip of hierarchy. He thinks young people are soft and entitled, calls them herbivores as an insult, but sometimes he genuinely mentors younger workers in his own weird way. He survived Japan's economic collapse and multiple recessions. His company loyalty runs incredibly deep, even if his methods are dated. The gamin embodiment. This person suffers in complete silence, never complains, ever, about anything. They endure physical pain, emotional distress, terrible work conditions, abusive treatment, and never say a word. They bottle every emotion until inevitable breakdown. They work through illness, injury, and mental health crises because everyone else is working too. So who am I to complain? They've got the flu and a fever of 39 degrees. They're at work, broke their foot, still commuting, having panic attacks in the bathroom, back at their desk in 5 minutes. Hospitalization is literally the only acceptable excuse for absence, and even then some people feel guilty. They've been taught from childhood that perseverance through suffering is the ultimate virtue, that complaining is shameful, that your pain doesn't matter compared to group harmony. It's honestly kind of heartbreaking to watch. But they're incredibly resilient. They don't burden others with their problems. They persevere through impossible hardship without expecting sympathy or special treatment, which is simultaneously admirable and deeply concerning. The konbini worker. Welcome to the convenience store at 2 a.m. The lone worker greets you with perfect scripted politeness despite making poverty wages. They recite the exact same phrases they've said 800 times tonight. They can fold a shopping bag with one hand while making change with the other in 0.3 seconds flat. They work the overnight shift completely alone, restocking shelves, managing the register, cleaning, heating up food, dealing with drunk salarymen, and maintaining that robotic customer service voice the entire time. They're treated like machines, not humans. Customers get angry if they deviate from the script even slightly. Management tracks their efficiency down to the second. They're underpaid and overworked, but they show up every single night and provide perfect service. They never complain despite dealing with genuinely difficult and sometimes abusive customers. They maintain that convenience store at 3 a.m. as clean and organized as it was at 3 p.m. They're incredibly reliable and hardworking under really tough conditions. The job hunting season. Congratulations, you're entering the workforce. Put on your identical black recruit suit that every other student is wearing. It's basically a uniform black suit, white shirt, neutral tie for men, black suit and white shirt for women. Everyone looks like they're attending a mass funeral for individuality because they are. You attend dozens of identical interviews where you robotically recite the same prepared answers. You lie about your passions and dreams because companies want to hear specific things. You erase your personality for corporate conformity. Dye your hair black if it's not already. Remove piercings. Cover tattoos. Hide anything that makes you different or interesting. The entire process is designed to find candidates who will obediently follow rules and never question authority. You're competing with thousands of identical-looking people for positions at companies you don't care about doing work that'll crush your soul. Your dreams of being an artist or musician or writer died the moment you put on that black suit. But it provides structured entry to the workforce and equal opportunity regardless of your family background or connections. The hostess/host. She's pouring champagne and laughing at jokes that aren't funny. He's complimenting a woman 3 times his age on her youthful appearance. They're professional fantasy sellers working at clubs where clients pay obscene amounts for attention and fake intimacy. She pretends every customer is fascinating. He acts like every client is beautiful. They drink excessively because that's part of the job. Customers buy bottles for thousands of dollars, and everyone's expected to keep pace. Their entire personality is manufactured for profit. They memorize 50-plus customers' birthdays, favorite drinks, personal details, job information, and family drama while blackout drunk, because repeat business depends on making people feel special. They maintain expensive lifestyles as marketing, designer clothes, and luxury accessories that suggest success. Behind the fake smiles, they're often supporting families back home or paying off debt. The work is emotionally exhausting, performing affection for hours, but they've mastered psychology and reading people. They develop incredible conversation skills and emotional intelligence. They work extremely hard in genuinely difficult conditions that most people couldn't handle. The pachinko parlor walk into sensory assault. Deafening mechanical noise at volumes that physically hurt. Cigarette smoke so thick you can barely see. Flashing lights designed to hypnotize. Rows of zombified players feeding steel balls into machines for hours without blinking. This is pachinko, Japan's barely legal gambling disguised as entertainment. People spend entire paychecks here. Families destroyed by addiction. The industry is worth more than Las Vegas casinos, but technically it's not gambling because of an absurd legal loophole. You win ball bearings, trade them for prizes, then mysteriously a shop next door buys those prizes for cash. Everyone knows it's gambling. The government knows. Nobody cares. It's also allegedly connected to money laundering and organized crime. The places are deliberately designed to be addictive. The sounds, the lights, the near misses that make you think you almost won. But hey, these are just stereotypes, right? The industry provides entertainment and employs thousands of people. It gives folks an escape from daily stress and reality, even if that escape sometimes becomes a trap. The Gaijin Hunter. Their dating profile says looking for international friends, which definitely means looking for white boyfriend. They only date foreigners, usually specifically white Westerners. They fetishize Western culture and exotic features like blue eyes and blonde hair. They use partners for free English practice and maybe visa sponsorship if things get serious. Every conversation somehow turns into English lesson time. They're weirdly obsessed with half babies and how cute mixed children would be. They treat dating like cultural tourism, collecting foreign boyfriends like passport stamps. They assume all foreigners are rich and will pay for everything. They've watched too many Hollywood movies and have unrealistic expectations about Western romance. They introduce foreign partners to friends as trophies. Look at my international boyfriend. Aren't I worldly and sophisticated? They're often surprised when foreigners have normal human flaws and aren't walking English textbooks/ATM machines. But genuinely, many are sincerely interested in other cultures and perspectives. They're open-minded enough to date outside their culture. They help bridge cultural gaps and create international connections that benefit everyone involved. The English teacher. They moved to Japan 5 years ago. Still can't order food in Japanese beyond sumimasen and arigato. They exclusively date Japanese people because they got yellow fever. They think they're celebrities because locals sometimes stare. They do the absolute minimum work required. showing up hungover to teach the same "how was your weekend" conversation for the 10,000th time. They complain constantly about Japan while refusing to leave or learn the language. They make decent money for essentially being a human tape recorder, repeating English phrases while actual Japanese teachers do the real work. They've never progressed beyond tourist Japanese despite living there half a decade. They're often completely oblivious to social cues and cultural norms. They think being a native English speaker makes them special and valuable when really they're replaceable. Every one of their stories starts with "this crazy thing happened to me in Japan," as if they're anthropologists discovering unknown civilization. But many are genuinely passionate about cultural exchange and education. They help students gain confidence speaking English. They bring international perspectives to classrooms and inspire kids to think globally. The Hanami. It's 6 a.m. and the most junior employee is sitting on a plastic tarp under cherry blossom trees. Alone, cold, tired. He's been here since 5:30 to reserve this spot for the company Hanami party that starts at noon. He'll sit here for 8 hours, guarding this patch of ground, because that's his job as the lowest-ranking team member. Meanwhile, his bosses are still asleep. When the party finally starts, he pours drinks and serves food, while everyone else enjoys the blossoms. He barely gets to look up at the trees because he's too busy attending to seniors. The beautiful tradition of appreciating cherry blossoms has been hijacked by corporate hierarchy. Junior employees can't relax because they're working. They're pouring beer and sake for managers who critique the temperature and poor speed. It's peer pressure to drink in cold weather, performance of enjoying nature rather than actual enjoyment. But it's rare outdoor company bonding outside the office environment. The blossoms really are beautiful when you get a second to appreciate them. It maintains cultural traditions and celebrates seasonal change together. The mangaka/anime creator. They live in a tiny apartment that's basically a paper prison. Reference materials stacked everywhere. Empty cup ramen containers forming geological layers indicating passage of time. They haven't seen sunlight in 3 weeks because windows are blocked by manuscript pages. Their sleep schedule is 4 hours every 3 days during crunch time, which is always crunch time. They survive on convenience store food and vending machine coffee. Their back is permanently curved from hunching over a desk. Their hand has repetitive strain injuries from drawing. They miss every deadline, then apologize profusely, then miss the extended deadline. Publishers treat them like content machines, not humans. The pay is terrible unless you're one of the 5 mega successful creators. Assistants make poverty wages. Hospitalizations from overwork are genuinely common in the industry, but they create art that influences global culture and inspires millions. They're incredibly dedicated to their craft, sacrificing health and normalcy for creative vision. They work under impossible conditions and still produce amazing stories that people treasure forever. Is that dedication admirable or exploitation? What do you think? The Love Hotel. The building is covered in neon lights advertising themed rooms, hourly rates posted outside. Parking garage has curtains so nobody can see who's entering. Everyone knows exactly why you're here but politely pretends not to. Inside there are rooms designed like trains, hospitals, classrooms, basically every possible fantasy. You can rent by the hour or overnight. It's discreetly normalized infrastructure for affairs and infidelity. Married salarymen bring mistresses. Couples having affairs hide here. People in sexless marriages find temporary escape. It's so common there are love hotels in every neighborhood. The rooms have elaborate themes and sometimes disturbing concepts. Why is there a schoolgirl uniform in the closet? Don't think about it too hard. You check in through automated systems to avoid human interaction and judgment. Room service delivers through special compartments so staff never see customers. The whole system is designed for anonymous discretion and plausible deniability. But they provide privacy for young couples living with parents in tiny apartments. They're judgment-free spaces where consenting adults do their thing. Some rooms are genuinely creative and fun, not just venues for affairs. The Herbivore Man. He has zero interest in dating or sex, lives with his parents at age 35. Avoids romantic relationships and adult responsibilities, spends money on hobbies and games instead of pursuing women. He's perfectly content alone with his interests. Society calls him a herbivore man, Cao Xunanzi. as an insult implying he's not masculine enough. He'd rather stay home gaming than go to Gaokon group dating events. He's not interested in the traditional life script of marriage and children. He's contributing to Japan's demographic crisis by completely opting out of romance and reproduction. He's more invested in anime waifus than real relationships. His body pillow has a character printed on it. He knows his favorite idol's birthday, but not how to talk to actual women. Previous generations find him baffling and disappointing. How can young men not want sex and relationships and family? But he's rejected toxic masculinity expectations. He's comfortable with himself and doesn't pressure women. He's chosen authenticity over social expectations, even if that choice worries economists tracking birth rates. The Kyoiku Mama. She scheduled Juku cram school for her 3-year-old to get ahead. Her child's entire existence revolves around exam preparation and educational achievement. She lives vicariously through her kids' test scores and university admissions. Piano lessons, English tutoring, math club, calligraphy, swimming. All scheduled back-to-back 6 days weekly. The kid has no free time and no childhood. She compares her child to neighbors' children constantly, bragging about test scores at PTA meetings. Her identity is completely wrapped up in being education mom. She destroyed her kids' mental health for the dream of Tokyo University admission. She monitors homework obsessively, hires expensive private tutors, forces studying until midnight on school nights. The child is exhausted, burnt out, and resentful, but can't say anything because mother sacrificed everything for this. Summer vacation means intensive study programs, not playing outside. Friendships are evaluated based on academic performance. Fun is systematically eliminated from childhood in pursuit of perfect scores. But she genuinely wants the best possible future for her child. She makes real sacrifices for their education and opportunity. She's deeply invested in family success, even if methods are extreme. The station master / train conductor. They point at everything, literally everything. Point at the sign and say the sign out loud. Point at the clock and announce the time. Point at the track and confirm which track. It's called pointing and calling, a safety system that looks absolutely ridiculous, but actually reduces errors. They apologize profusely for 20-second delays. The train is 18 seconds late, and they're on the intercom expressing deep regret for this unacceptable failure. They bow to empty platforms. They follow rules to absurd degrees that would make German bureaucrats say, "Relax a bit." They wear immaculate uniforms with white gloves. They check their watch constantly. Being on time isn't enough. They need to be exactly on time to the second. They'll literally delay the train to apologize for the delay, creating a recursive loop of Japanese perfectionism. They take their responsibility so seriously, it borders on parody. But they maintain the world's most punctual train system, where 99% on-time performance is considered disappointing. They ensure passenger safety through those silly-looking pointing procedures that genuinely work. Their dedication keeps millions of people moving efficiently every single day. The konbini at 3 a.m. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead in this 24-hour purgatory. The single employee maintains perfect customer service despite making minimum wage and working completely alone. It's 3 in the morning and they're greeting drunk salarymen buying instant ramen with the same scripted enthusiasm they had at 3 p.m. The store is eerily clean, every product facing forward, floors spotless despite constant traffic. This is the urban oasis for lost souls, overnight workers, teenagers with nowhere else to go, people avoiding going home to empty apartments. The staff member restocks shelves, manages register, heats up food, cleans bathrooms, and maintains that robotic politeness without breaking character once. They see humanity at its lowest, drunk people stumbling in, crying people buying comfort food, exhausted workers grabbing their 5th coffee of the night. They're providing essential service in the loneliest hours while barely surviving financially themselves. But they're an always open lifeline for people who need it. They create safe spaces at night when everything else is closed. They're there for overnight workers who'd otherwise have nowhere to get food or supplies. The Kyoiku Mama, she booked cram school for her 3-year-old because it's never too early to get ahead. Her child's entire existence is exam preparation and achievement hunting. Piano on Monday, English tutoring Tuesday. Advanced math Wednesday, calligraphy Thursday, swimming Friday, practice exams Saturday. Sunday is for reviewing the week's material, not playing. The kid has zero free time and certainly no childhood. She lives through her child's test scores and university prospects. Her identity is completely education mom, nothing else matters. She compares her kid to neighbors' children obsessively, casually mentioning test rankings at every opportunity. She destroyed her child's mental health, pursuing Tokyo University admission dreams. She monitors homework like a prison warden, hires expensive private tutors the family can barely afford, forces studying until midnight on school nights while the kid fights to stay conscious. Summer vacation means intensive study camps, not beach trips or fun. Friendships are evaluated based on academic performance, and whether they're good influences meaning study-focused, but she genuinely wants the best future possible for her child and makes real sacrifices for education. She's deeply invested in family success even if her methods are questionable. The station master/train conductor. Point at the sign. Say the sign. Point at the clock. Announce the time. Point at the track. Confirm the track number. This is pointing and calling. A Japanese safety system that looks completely ridiculous, but actually prevents errors. They apologize extensively for 18-second delays like they've committed unforgivable sins against humanity. The train is barely late and they're already on the intercom expressing profound regret for this catastrophic failure of punctuality. They bow to empty platforms. They follow procedures with religious devotion that makes German efficiency look casual. Their uniforms are immaculate with white gloves that somehow stay pristine. They check watches obsessively because being on time isn't adequate. They need exactly on time to the second. They'll actually delay the train briefly to apologize for the delay, creating that recursive loop of Japanese perfectionism we joked about earlier. Every movement is choreographed. Every announcement is scripted. They take responsibility so seriously, it borders on performance art. But they maintain the world's most punctual transportation system, where average delay is measured in seconds, not minutes. They ensure passenger safety through procedures that genuinely reduce accidents. Their dedication moves millions of people efficiently and safely every single day. The Golden Week. Congratulations, you have a week off work. So does everyone else. All 126 million Japanese people have the exact same vacation days. The highways transform into massive parking lots. Your 10-hour drive to visit family becomes 20 hours of sitting in traffic, surrounded by identical frustration. Every tourist destination is packed beyond capacity. Hotels booked months in advance. Restaurants have 3-hour waits. You can't actually relax because you're fighting crowds everywhere. Theme parks are shoulder-to-shoulder humans. Beaches are covered in people. You can't see sand. Hiking trails have queues to take photos at scenic viewpoints. You spend your rare extended break sitting in your car or waiting in lines instead of enjoying vacation. The irony is suffocating. You finally get time off and can't do anything because everyone has time off simultaneously. It's a nationally coordinated exercise in collective disappointment, but it's genuinely rare extended break in a culture that doesn't value time off. It allows family bonding time that normally doesn't happen. It maintains cultural traditions and gives people something to look forward to, even if execution is chaotic. The Idol. She's forbidden from dating. Her contract literally prohibits romantic relationships because fans need to believe she's available for them. She maintains a carefully constructed innocent persona that has nothing to do with her actual personality. Management controls her image, her schedule, her social media, basically her entire existence. The industry exploits young girls, some starting careers at 12 or 13 years old. She performs in sexualized outfits while simultaneously selling virginal purity fantasy. It's a disturbing contradiction that nobody acknowledges. One idol was forced to shave her head and apologize publicly on video for the crime of having a boyfriend. Another was attacked by a stalker who found her location by zooming in on reflections in her eyes from posted photos. The industry is built on unhealthy parasocial relationships between idols and fans who genuinely believe they have romantic chances. She works insanely hard perfecting choreography and vocals, while making surprisingly little money. Most goes to the company. She can't have normal young adult experiences, no dating, no partying, no privacy, but she brings genuine joy to millions of fans. Many successfully transition to broader entertainment careers. Their work ethic and performance skills are truly impressive. The Black Company Culture. Welcome to a black company, Baratskuchiya. Unpaid overtime isn't just expected, it's mandatory and has its own term, service overtime. You're providing free labor to your employer, and that's completely normalized. Power harassment is daily reality. Bosses scream at employees, throw things, publicly humiliate workers. This isn't occasional bad management, it's systematic abuse. Employees are worked until they collapse, hospitalize, or commit suicide. Karoshi, death by overwork, is recognized legally. The government has official statistics for people who literally work themselves to death. Quitting is seen as ultimate betrayal. You're abandoning your work family. Companies guilt-trip employees into staying despite terrible conditions. Some workers are too exhausted to go home, so they sleep at the office. There are rental places where you can shower and rest between shifts because going home wastes commute time. Mental health support is non-existent because admitting you're struggling is weakness. This toxic culture has destroyed countless lives and families, but the younger generation is increasingly rejecting this nightmare. Labor laws are slowly improving with actual enforcement. Awareness is growing that this isn't normal or acceptable. It's abuse that needs to end. The hikikomori phenomenon, they haven't left their room in 6 months. Maybe a year. Some cases stretch to decades. They're hikikomori, people in complete social withdrawal, living as shut-ins in their childhood bedrooms. Over 1 million Japanese people are living this way right now. They order everything online, communicate only through screens if at all, avoid all human contact, including family members. Parents enable this by bringing food to the door and not forcing confrontation. The social pressure in Japan is so intense that some people completely opt out of society rather than face it. They can't handle the expectations, the judgment, the competition, the conformity demands. So they hide. They retreat into online worlds and anime and games where nobody judges them for failing to meet impossible standards. It's not laziness, it's mental health crisis on massive scale that society doesn't want to acknowledge. Families hide hikikomori members out of shame. The phenomenon highlights how toxic pressure creates people so broken they can't function in society anymore, but it's bringing necessary attention to mental health issues that were previously ignored. It represents rejection of toxic work in social culture. Some people do successfully reintegrate with proper support and understanding. The Karashi death by overwork. Japan has official government recognition and statistics for people who literally work themselves to death. Glossy, is when someone dies from a heart attack, stroke, or suicide directly caused by excessive labor. The government tracks this. Companies pay compensation for it. It's institutionally recognized phenomenon, not rare tragedy. People die at their desks. They collapse from exhaustion. They develop fatal health conditions from chronic stress and lack of sleep. A young woman at an advertising agency killed herself after working 100-hour weeks for months. A truck driver died after working 6,500 hours in 1 year. That's averaging nearly 18 hours daily. These aren't isolated incidents, they're predictable outcomes of systematic overwork culture. Companies know employees are being destroyed, but profits matter more than lives. Families lose parents and spouses to jobs that demanded everything and gave nothing back. The fact that death by overwork has an official term and legal framework proves how normalized this horror is. But families are fighting for victims' recognition and pushing for change. It's raising awareness about work-life balance importance. Corporate culture is slowly shifting as these tragedies force society to confront the human cost of their work obsession. The contradiction. Here's the thing about Japanese culture: surface-level politeness masks deep dysfunction. Harmony is valued over honesty to the point where people suffer silently rather than disrupt the peace. The same culture that produces incredible innovation and efficiency also prevents people from seeking help when they're drowning. Everything is wrapped in beautiful packaging, the li-yi, the aesthetics, the traditions, but underneath there's loneliness, repression, and quiet desperation. People are dying from overwork, but nobody complains because complaining disrupts harmony. Women face systematic discrimination, but speaking up makes you troublemaker. Mental health is crisis level, but therapy is shameful. The culture simultaneously creates amazing things and destroys people creating them. It's collective over individual taken to extreme, where individual suffering is acceptable sacrifice for group stability. This contradiction is exhausting for people living in it. They're expected to endure everything with a smile, while slowly falling apart inside. The pressure to conform, to not stand out, to persevere silently, it breaks people. But awareness is genuinely growing, especially among younger generations. They're challenging traditions that harm rather than help. Mental health is slowly being destigmatized. People are speaking up about problems that previous generations suffered through silently. Change is happening. So yeah, those are all the negative Japanese stereotypes. Some are rooted in real cultural issues that millions of Japanese people are actively working to change, while others are exaggerations that don't represent most people's actual lives. Japan contains incredible complexity, both beautiful traditions and serious problems that deserve acknowledgement. Let me know which stereotype you think is most accurate, or which one I got completely wrong. Subscribe for more stereotype deep dives that'll make you question everything.